October 1962. The world stood at the edge of nuclear annihilation. In the waters near Cuba, a Soviet submarine crew, exhausted, isolated, suffocating, prepared to unleash a nuclear weapon. They believed war had already begun. They had no way of knowing the truth. What happened next was hidden from the world for decades. One man made a decision. Against orders, against his own captain, and against the pull of panic. That decision may have saved your life. This is Hidden in History, where shadows still speak. If you love stories the world was never meant to remember, subscribe now. Because sometimes history's loudest moments are the ones you never hear. 1962. The Cold War is at its boiling point. The Soviet Union secretly places nuclear missiles in Cuba, just 90 miles off the coast of Florida. The United States discovers them. The world holds its breath. President John F. Kennedy addresses the nation. DEFCON 2 is declared, one step from all-out nuclear war. Across the oceans, 4 Soviet submarines slip through the Atlantic, undetected by radar, each carrying something unthinkable: nuclear torpedoes. One of them is B-59. Crammed with 90 men, the air stifling, the temperature above 110 degrees Fahrenheit, no communication with Moscow, no fresh air, food is running low. And all around them, American destroyers dropping depth charges. The Soviet sailors don't know the charges are practice rounds. To them, it's war, and they're ready to strike back. Inside B-59, the situation is spiraling. The captain, Valentin Savitsky, is convinced war has begun. The orders are clear. If attacked, respond with force. He decides to launch the nuclear torpedo. Only one safeguard stands between the world and the first strike. All 3 senior officers must agree to fire. Savitsky says yes. The political officer, Ivan Maslenikov, says yes. Only one man remains. Vasili Arkhipov. Quiet, thoughtful, second in command. He's no stranger to pressure. He survived a prior nuclear crisis aboard the doomed submarine K-19. The room is boiling. Men are shouting. Some are crying. The captain is furious. But Arkhipov refuses. He stands his ground. Calm, resolute. "I do not authorize the launch," he says. "We will not be the ones to start a war." A pause. The longest moment in history. The launch is called off. The sub surfaces. The crisis passes. No one claps. No medals are given. There are no headlines, no photo ops, no honors from the state. The crew is ordered to keep silent. The incident is scrubbed from reports. Moscow never tells the world what really happened in the dark. Above the surface, the world celebrates diplomacy, crisis averted, peace preserved. But behind that fragile calm, no one knows how close we came. And Vasili Arkhipov? He returns home, quietly. No fanfare, no interviews, no parade. To his superiors, he was dutiful but inconvenient. To his neighbors, just another officer in uniform. To history, at least for a time, he simply vanished. He never told his story, and no one thought to ask. It would take nearly 4 decades before the truth came to light, before declassified documents and fading memories revealed how close we were to nuclear war, and how one man, without permission, without applause, stopped it. Vasili Arkhipov was not a defector, not a radical. He was a decorated officer, a loyal submariner, but he was also a man shaped by catastrophe. A year before Cuba, he survived a nuclear accident aboard the K-19, a submarine that nearly melted down at sea. Many of his crewmates died slowly of radiation. He witnessed fear, failure, and how fragile leadership can be in the dark. He carried that memory with him into B-59. So when the captain prepared to launch a nuclear strike, Arkhipov didn't flinch. He saw through the panic. He understood the stakes. And he did the unthinkable. He said no, not out of fear, but because he knew that pressing forward without absolute certainty could end everything. It wasn't just courage, it was clarity. In that moment, Arkhipov became the last barrier between reason and ruin. If Arkhipov had agreed, if he had given in, that nuclear torpedo would have struck a US destroyer. America would have responded. Massive retaliation was not just likely, it was policy. Within hours, missiles would fly, cities would burn, the Cold War would become the last war. Hundreds of millions dead, possibly more. Not in decades, but in days. And it all would have started because one submarine mistook a drill for war. One misstep, one misunderstanding, one yes. But Arkhipov didn't say yes. He said no. And the world kept turning. Vasili Arkhipov died in 1998, never fully recognized in his lifetime. But now his story is told. One man, one decision, one breath between war and peace. You've been watching Hidden in History, where shadows still speak. If this story moved you, there are more waiting to be uncovered. Subscribe, share, remember. Because sometimes the greatest heroes are the quiet ones.